I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, may we please have roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Scott Funk,
Present.
Councilmember Liz Silva,
Present.
Councilmember Lorraine Worthy, Councilmember Maria Orozco,
Present.
and Mayor Jose Rios.
President. First item on the agenda is the presentation to Giovanni Ochoa, cross-country, third-year state competitor. So I guess I'll go up there, and Mary, would you be so kind as to read that?
Is he here yet?
No, here they go.
Oh, there they go. There it is.
Okay, so we have the certificate of recognition to Giovanni Ochoa from the Gonzalez High School varsity cross-country team. On behalf of the City Council of the City of Gonzalez, we would like to express our congratulations and recognition for setting the school course record for league championships, earning second overall all league honors, qualifying for the Central Coast Section Championships, and placing fourth, qualifying for the CIF State Cross Country Championships, and placing 47th, breaking your own school record by running a time of 16 minutes and 10 seconds on the 5K course, and for being the only athlete in any sport to have qualified for the state championships 3 consecutive times. We are proud of your accomplishment and for representing your school, community, and families with the highest degree of integrity, dignity, and sportsmanship. Once again, congratulations and go Spartans.
Tiny little city, state of California. They know that where Gonzalez is now, Mr. Boyd, is a bit of state, and I appreciate that. But thank you very much. Thank you. Ms. Shannon, do you have to say anything? Awesome.
We have the certificates also for Coach Margie Daniels and Assistant Coach Mike Ramirez.
Mike? You here?
Bring him up.
One's holding the baby.
Got the assistant coach.
Yeah, the assistant system.
All right, so we all know that Gio is not a stranger. He's been here for many, many times. He is a senior this year. And so I just want to touch base on just what he has accomplished, because when he entered high school, he was already winning championships. So he started off his running career winning a league championship. And then his sophomore year, that's when he qualified for CCS and for state, broke all kinds of records, and that's just cross country. Then he started to dismantle all the records in track and field, the mile, the 2 mile school records. And then his junior year, again, broke the record, qualified for CCS, but then he qualified in the top 7. And again, broke a record. And then this year as a senior, 3rd time in a row, took 4th, even better than what he placed last year, shattered his own personal record. But what makes Gio outstanding, an outstanding student athlete, is his work ethic. But he has also been able to maintain a 3.5 GPA or higher. I believe he has a 4.0 right now throughout his entire athletic career. So, yeah. So he is really the prime example of what a scholar athlete is. And he is extremely humble. I'm always the one who is bragging, congratulating him, and just making sure that people know. At our last CCS championship meet, I went to check in and they said, Gonzalez, man, you guys have a good cross-country team. I was like, I know, thank you. And I'm like, where are you from? Never heard of it. I'm sorry, but good luck, so, it's just like, but that was us. But, when, when, when people think of Gonzalez, they do think of Gio, and his name will forever be part of the sport and the legacy at Gonzalez High. So I just want to make sure that you knew, or that that it's not just me, but the entire community is so proud of you because you represent all of us. So good job. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome job, Ed.
No, ditto to everything that Coach Daniel said, but I tell you, kind of like a little historian on some sports, a lot of sports at Gonzalez, and three times go state championships. That's an accomplishment. Really proud of Gio, and outstanding student, and I know he's going to do well. And whatever his next endeavor is, and if he continues running, he's going to be an excellent runner, great college runner. Thank you again.
Like to say, because I'll be honest with you, I'm a huge admirer simply because as a basketball coach, you know what I did to make the boys pay attention to me? Gentlemen, on the line, start running. Oh, coach, make that 2. Anybody for 3? And you probably keep going because, that's amazing. So I'm a huge admirer of you. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to say? Mike is yours.
I just have a question for you, Gio. This is something I've always wondered my entire life. What makes someone want to run for fun? I really want to know, because I mean, people who run, there's a reason for it. I know endorphins and all that kind of stuff, but is it, you just enjoy it so much, I bet.
But to be honest with you, I didn't really start off enjoying it, but my dad in the back in the hat, he came home from school after quarantine, and he made me run with him. Yeah, so.
There you go.
I was telling dad, when he's hurt, he pushed me like, come on, let's keep going, let's keep going. So he pushed me after he had work, and then starting my freshman year, he made me join. I didn't even want to join.
There you go.
So next one too. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll run. And it's kind of turned me into who I am today, but now I started to enjoy running. It just, honestly, the enjoyment comes from once you start. It takes like a couple months because you're just dreading it at the beginning. But once you start running, it's like a breath of fresh air. Like you just feel like you want to continue running. It's like your body needs it. Like, oh man, I can't wait to run today.
There you go.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And also congratulations to his parents,
Oh, yes.
because it's really a team effort.
There you go.
Have a good night. All righty, moving on. Business from the public. Any member of the public may address the council for a period not to exceed 3 minutes on any subject not on the agenda. The council will listen to all communications, but will make no comments and take no action. The podiums. Nobody's running up to the podium today? I don't think everyone wants to come up and say anything. All righty. Gosh, that's kind of feels a little weird.
It does.
That's,
We'll take it.
we'll take it, we'll take it. I'm embracing it. I love it, love it. That's great. Okay, we'll go. Oh, yes, do we have anyone on Zoom that wishing to speak?
No comments via Zoom.
No comments on the Zoom, so thank you. Mary, Mary, do we have any comments via email?
No comments via email.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, we'll go ahead and close that part of the agenda and move on to the consent agenda, which is items 2 through 12. If you've all had an opportunity to review those, I'll entertain a motion for approval or pull an item from the agenda. Yes,
On the warrants.
okay. So you have a question on warrants, okay?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Nope.
Nope,
Good.
we all good? All right. Go ahead and ask your question for staff.
Okay, so now that we're on the new system, it's a little confusing. So the number that you use for the actual vendor number, which one do you use to identify what it is? Is it the vendor number
To identify,
to identify which one I'm talking about?
so the vendor number is there as well. It's right next to it is the vendor name.
Right, so
To
three,
tell us which one you mean, right?
right.
Yeah.
So
So it's 3284, it's Armanasco Public Relations. This is for the December 12/9 for $5,000. I know I'm beating a dead horse on this issue. But I really would like I would like to know what was done during those times. Because to me, when we're looking at $5,000 a month from them, I want to know exactly what they're doing. Because did they do anything in December? Did they do anything in November? Did they do anything in October? I know that we're getting ready to do budgets and it's just something that I know I've been talking about. So that's the reason I identified it. So if we could,
yeah, I can definitely get that information for you for the invoice stated. So I'll
Perfect.
have them compile something.
perfect. Yeah, because I think we need to know exactly what they're doing for this amount of money. Because then it would determine whether or not we want to continue the service. Okay, thank you.
Okay, continuing on. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I have a motion for.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, please.
Oops, Mike, do you have something?
Mike?
I know this is a little bit irregular,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead.
but I would actually like to even pull just to discuss one of my own agenda items.
Oh, that's
And,
fine.
and it, it's item number 11, and this is the MOUs for the POA and the
Mhm.
SPOA agreements. I really want to just take a moment to acknowledge before the council, the participants in the meeting. The representatives for the two associations were Miguel Perez and Cesar Castillo, with the union negotiator Craig McDonald. I want to acknowledge them before the council and let the council know how extremely professional these individuals were at very tough negotiations where, with the financial situation in the state of the city, these individuals presented themselves with such decorum and professionalism, which could have been very contentious negotiations. So I want to thank them and I want to acknowledge them, and I want the council to know that we've got some outstanding employees that work with the city. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much for adding that. So I had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 13, which is oath of allegiance from the two newly elected persons, myself and Mr. Funk. So I guess we go to the front for our oaths.
Did you have anybody specifically that you wanted? Son's here. His son's here.
Can he read it? It needs to be.
Mary, you have to read it, but he could be they could be.
You need to go maybe.
But nobody can get in. Here, so I can read them. You wanna do it first? Oh, you guys wanna do it together? Okay. So if you guys wanna raise your right hands, I, and then state your name.
I, Serios.
Do solemnly swear or affirm
Do
Swear and affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution
and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. If you can sign yours.
Tough for me. Thank you. I'd like to take a quick moment, excuse me, to comment and say to the public, thank you so much for your trust in both myself and Mr. Funk, that we didn't have any other competitors against us. I'll be honest with you, as a 7-year-old boy that came from Mexico, never, ever did I ever think that I'd be at a place like this. And I'm deeply honored that the community has a faith in me. And I appreciate their votes. Whoever voted, whoever didn't, well, that's okay. You had the opportunity. But I want to just say thank you to my community for your continuous support. Scott, if you want to say anything, all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Likewise, I do want to say thank you to those who did vote. And I know this is the first district election, so it was a little different this time with the neighborhood specific. So very much appreciate the community for, affirming me once again and to represent them. So I look forward to another great 4 years.
And I guess because I was born in Mexico, I can't be elected to higher office than, the presidency. I guess that's off the table. That's okay. Oh, no. I'm not sure I would even stand a chance. Next is, and I apologize, Carmen, could you please read that next item? Item 15, I believe. 14.
Number it is.
It's-
The 14 is the reorganization of city council, election of mayor pro tem, vice chair, and vice president.
And, I have to ask, because I've only done this twice or once. Yeah, really only once. And I thought I just appointed someone.
No, yes for a nomination.
Okay. Okay. Well, today's meeting, I'd like to nominate Ms. Liz Silva, if she'd be so kind to accept that nomination. And if not, I
As I said to you when you asked, you comment.
thank you. Okay, so I don't think I need a second, but is. Okay. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much, Ms. Silva. And I appreciate it because I knew Scott's full-time work and I've been wanting to do some things and since now you're retired, guess what?
I'm busier.
Well, yes, yes. But since I was, can't be my chauffeur all the time, there's some things that you and I are gonna try to accomplish, okay? So and we can use Eva's car, I'm sure she won't mind.
Familiar with that kind of car, right?
You are familiar with that type of car. Item 15,
You actually vote or not?
yes.
Oh, I didn't hear you vote. I
Oh,
just heard the first. and the second.
Also, yes,
We would.
They all just said, yeah, aye. yeah,
aye,
Yep.
yes.
That's what the record.
It's with the record. Sorry, I didn't bang the gavel this time. I apologize. I'm trying to lay off that gavel. I might break it. Okay, moving on to item 15. And before we start this, Michael, I just want to let you all know that I did have operation number 14. And it was exactly what the doctor said. I lost more of my sight with the hope and the prayers that I hope that I get at least some of it back. It's funny, when I had very little sight, I kept hoping to get 20/20. And now that I'm where I'm at, I'll be happy with what I had before. So I guess lesson learned is be happy where you're at what particular time in your life you are, because things can get worse. So in that test, because I'm unable to read a lot of this, I'm gonna ask staff, who's ever the staff member that's presenting, to please read the item into the record. So in this particular one, it's Michael. So Michael, if you could read that in, and then I'll ask you for staff report.
Sure. Item 15 is public hearing to consider waiver of second reading, adoption, and reading by title only of ordinance number 2024-147, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Gonzales, amending Chapter 1.20, City Council of Title I, Administration of the Gonzales City Code, to allow time allocated to public speakers to be established by resolution. So if you'll recall, this matter is a carryover from, believe it or not, December 2nd of 2024, where the ordinance was introduced. You'll recall we had a full discussion of the proposed ordinance. Basically, this ordinance will make changes in the way the council accommodates public speakers at meetings. If adopted, currently the ordinance reads that all public speakers will be allowed 3 minutes per speaker on various comments. And so if adopted, the ordinance will make modifications to that language, first by indicating that the language in section 1.20.020 will indicate that the time set for speakers will be set by resolution. That will give the council more flexibility and some variation on the theme. So for instance, a resolution can come before you that would say, you know, if we had an item on the agenda with 20 speakers, you could reduce the amount of time to each speaker to, you know, 1 minute or 2 minutes, so that we could have an orderly and timely meeting, that sort of thing. So the idea is that if the ordinance is adopted this evening, that we would bring a resolution to you 30 days after the adoption this evening, so that you could then discuss and consider and make sure that we adopted the right changes that you want with respect to the time allocated to speakers. The second change that the ordinance will make also is that it will delete the current requirement that says that anybody who wants to speak has to identify themselves by name and provide an address prior to speaking. Although hundreds and hundreds of public entities throughout the state have that language in their rules, by law, you cannot require somebody to do that. So we're going to change that language to indicate that we can make a request for that for purposes of preparing an accurate record of who came before the council and so forth and so on. But if someone declines to either want to give their name or their address, then they are certainly entitled to do that and still be able to speak to you. And then the final change this ordinance will make is to eliminate, there is language in here that says that if you want to speak, you have to stand up at the podium. I want to eliminate that language just in case there is somebody who, for whatever reason, is unable to stand up at the podium. And we'll just say address the council by coming forward to the podium or something along those lines. So that's the proposed change, and that's what we're hoping to do.
I'll go ahead and open this up to the public for anyone from the public wishing to comment on this matter. No rush to the podium, huh? Okay. Then I will go ahead and ask Marisol. Marisol, do we have any comments via Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, any comments via
No
email?
comments via email.
Okay, then I will go ahead and close this item to the public and bring it back to council discussion. Any further discussions, questions for staff? Ms. Silva?
Quick question. In the language you just mentioned, Michael, you said that if at any point we had a lot of people here to make public comment, how would we determine that? Would we have people sign up as they come in and check them off as they spoke?
There's a variety of different ways. So if we know that we've got sort of a hot topic item, you would expect that we'll have a lot of people either here in the audience or They'll be queued up, waiting to get in on Zoom. You can always ask people, how many people are here this evening to speak on the issue of
Sure.
firing the city attorney? And all the hands go up and you say like, okay, well then let's reduce the time to 30 seconds. But I mean, that's the way that usually it's done. It's somewhat informal, but we can build the actual process into the, we're not going to do it, for instance, a limit that says that there's more than 10 or there's.
No.
Yeah.
Right. We want to make sure that you have flexibility, but that it's fair, that people would know that if there was a large volume of speakers and so forth, that you have the ability to reduce the amount of time per speaker.
Thank you.
Nobody else has a question? I have one for Michael. Michael, quick question regarding the lack or not needing to get a name. So someone could come up here and speak for whatever. How is he identified in the minutes? Because I know Mary's got to write this down.
You just have to do your best. Speaker X said blah, 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 blah. That's the way that usually, most people will identify themselves. I'll be honest, it's very rare when somebody says, I want to stand in front of the council and be anonymous, right? You're more likely to get somebody who wants to be anonymous if they're, sending you an email or something along those lines. But we would just identify them as Speaker X or Speaker 4 said blah, 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 blah. We find a way to make sure that we had some way to do that.
Okay,
It's a small town. I mean, people know the people in the town. You're more likely to have somebody maybe from out of town who would come before you and you wouldn't know who they were. But for the most part, I think that there's probably going to be a way to identify somebody who comes to speak.
all right. And I can't imagine why anybody would be ashamed to say where they're coming from, but I'm sure there will be some. Okay, that was my concern as to how that would be taken in the minutes.
Right.
Okay, that answers my question. Do you need a motion on this?
Yes, yeah, this is, so it's before you this evening, after closing your public hearing for waiver of reading by title only. I've already read the title into the agenda and the minutes, and then basically just your action.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and close the public meeting at this time and bring it back for council discussion or council motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance number 2024-147 as presented. Is it 2024, not 2025?
2024, because we started at 7.
Okay.
Second.
Last one.
I have a motion and a second. Yeah, was a second on this. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 16, I believe this is Mr. Dobbins.
Correct, Mayor.
Wastewater treatment update.
Yes, so this is an update on the emergency work that was performed at the wastewater treatment plant as authorized at the December 11th council meeting. As mentioned during that meeting in December, during October and November, staff noticed that way too much water at the wastewater treatment plant. And that was due for several reasons, including the high groundwater due to last two winter heavy storms, and then the regular releases from Nacimiento Dam down the Salinas River. At our groundbreaking for the industrial wastewater pipeline project, our regulator, Christina Almos, mentioned all the wastewater plants along the Salinas River are struggling with the high groundwater. The second reason was the slow percolation of the disposal beds made it difficult for public works staff to get a tractor in to rip it to to maintain the percolation. And of course, the last and probably one of the biggest reasons was the processing facilities ramped up their production for the holiday season, and two of them exceeded their industrial wastewater allocation. So at the special council meeting on December 11th, staff was authorized to take action, which included engaging Swift Tectonics. We got 2 quotes. Swift Tectonics was selected because they could mobilize immediately. And then the other, among the other vendors was pumping and trucking treated wastewater to the Soledad wastewater treatment plant. Swift Tectonics understood the urgent need to complete this work. They mobilized immediately and worked 10-hour days, 6 days a week. They brought the big iron and a lot of hands. They know what they're doing, and they constructed this 5-acre disposal pond right alongside the 3 existing disposal beds that we have at the existing plant. So the new disposal pond is at the future site of phase 2 of the industrial wastewater treatment facility, and it will be used with some modification when we get to constructing phase 2 of the industrial treatment facility. So estimated costs are presented in the table in the staff reports. staff had estimated, and, you know, we always like to, be conservative and not have to come back for additional authorization. So our estimate was $950,000, cost to date, $390,000. We didn't use any of the contingency, which was, I believe, was $150,000. There's, some minor costs that we have not received, which included costs, from the city of Soledad to, take our treated wastewater. That's assumed to be below $10,000. And another cost is, we're renting the pump, that's, moving the water from the, disposal fields to the new disposal pond. The procurement time to get that pond from rain for rent was actually 52 weeks. So we're unfortunately having to rent that pump. The new disposal bed was completed on or about December 24th, just in time for Christmas, of course. Really great. I mean, they really moved this project along. Our construction manager really amazed at their progress on this. And I think that's another thing just to mention is, you know, we used M&S engineers to be the construction manager and inspector on this important project, and they were basically had a field inspector that came over because he was working on the industrial wastewater pipeline project, so he could check in on this as needed. So it was great to have M&S engineers basically already working for the city on our industrial wastewater pipeline project. So the new disposal bed is percolating well. The required freeboard of at minimum 2 feet. We exceed that, which is what we'd want to be below the 2 feet. We were actually during early parts of December, we were at 1.5 feet. And the concern was if this water in the ponds reached a rodent hole or others, we would blow out a pond. And that actually happened at the city of Hollister. I don't know if it was 15 years ago or more, where hundreds of thousands of gallons reached the San Benito River. And that concludes my presentation. Ready for any questions? I'm actually going to come to you next week at the January 21st meeting to recommend accepting this project and directing me to record a notice of completion on this project.
Great job. So we're well under budget.
Yes, we were well under budget and ahead of our schedule where we like to be. So no, again, huge kudos to the contractor taking this serious, working very closely with staff and putting all their energy and equipment to complete this project.
Now, did this cost also include the refencing that had to be done to on the land out there? Was that?
Yes, it includes the fencing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So Public Works staff is installing that fence. So basically it's the material cost of that fence. So yes.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and open this item up to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item may do so at this time. And again, seeing no one rushing to the podium, I'll ask Marisol, do we have anybody via Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, any comments via email?
No comments via email.
And I'll go ahead and close the public comment period and bring it back to council. And you need no action, just an acceptance of your report. Is that correct?
Yep.
Right, fantastic.
Thanks for the update.
Thank you for the update. Fantastic. Yay. Very good news. All right, next up on the agenda is the Gonzales Youth Council. I believe there's.
Yes.
Valeria's here.
Hello.
Valeria's gonna do it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back from holidays. For my council report today, I'll be announcing that the GOAC is having our first meeting this Thursday after break. We're going to go back to regular schedule and have our second meeting coming up in the last Thursday of the month. We are also scheduled to have our SOUR presentation for an asset mapping project that me and Miss Emily, my fellow commissioner, had been in for this past fall. And we're going to show you guys our research and our data that we have gotten this upcoming 21st meeting as well. And we are also scheduled to meet and introduce ourselves with the new superintendent and with the Gonzales High School at the Gonzales Unified School District, this Wednesday. So we're going to have a great time discussing about our combined visions, getting to know each other, and that's something that's also coming up. And for my final report, I would like to say that we're having a scheduled sit test. Our final one is kind of like a ribbon celebration day, I believe, on February for the furniture that's going to be in the Teen Innovation Center at the community center. So that's gonna be very exciting. People are flying over, so it's gonna be like kind of nice to see everybody again and kind of finalize everything. So that's coming up. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Emily, anything else to add, or are we good?
Just one thing. Oh, she left.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and
she got it. Oh, I can't see that. Well, okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move on. Consider council appointments to boards and committees. Unless anybody has a dying desire to do something different than what they're doing, I think that we have a longstanding commitment to MST, Cincinnati Valley Recycles, AMBAG. I'm sorry, I can't remember what you're appointed to.
I'm
Community
a
Housing?
Yeah, she's,
subcommittee for housing.
yeah.
So unless you have a burning desire to change things, so speak now, or
I don't think the housing one is in here, is it?
It is not.
It's a subcommittee.
it's a subcommittee.
Okay.
And through the chair, we need to change the ABAG power pool.
Yeah.
Which currently has the appointee being Trevor Barber. So we should change that to probably the current city manager.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Carmen, are you okay with that? I have to ask.
Yes, please.
All right.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, no concerns. Maintain the current appointments. Just to note that for AMBAG, I am appointed to a couple of other committees and commissions off of AMBAG. I will be missing potentially 2 or 3 meetings throughout the year due to travel. So we'll be asking my alternate to attend probably more frequently this year, just more of a heads up.
Who's Scott's alternate?
Yes.
Lauren.
But yeah,
For AMBAG.
yeah, so it's Wednesdays, yeah, second Wednesday of the month.
Don't they rotate?
Near Ryan Ranch. Mhm. Okay, very good.
All right, next up is reports back on different boards that we sit on. I will start with the Transportation Agency. Really not much to report, kind of the year-end discussions of the projects that are pending. Salinas, south of Salinas project is moving along. The AI automation of the signalization on Highway 68 is moving along as well. Really not much else to report on. Moving on to the Mayor Select Committee, I will tell you that was a little cantankerous, a lot of discussion. The discussion was basically this, in that Mayor Craig, as you know, decided not to run again. And so her position, which after much discussion, and I'm telling you, it was a lot of discussion, centered on the fact that the majority felt that that position wasn't given to an individual, but a city. And so that being said, we felt that Mayor Dennis, the new Mayor Dennis Donahue, was the appropriate person to sit in that position. It hadn't been agendized, and that was part of the problem. And that was due to our past chair that, for whatever reason, felt that it didn't need to be agendized. And so, like I said, there was a lot of banter. It's the first time I've ever seen mayors really get kind of feisty with each other, but it ended amicably. And so for the time being, for the next month, Mayor Donahue will represent us on LAFCO. And then at the next Mayor Select meeting, that will actually be agendized to decide whether it stays with the city or it goes, or it's redone. So the other person that was vying for that was Mayor Ana Velasquez from Soledad. She felt as the alternative that she should step into that position next. She didn't get that agreement. Everybody else felt it was with the city and not necessarily with the member that was the city. I mean, come on. The way I look at it is they're the 900-pound gorilla in the mix, you know? They're the largest population base, county base. I just feel that they definitely need a place on LAFCO. Good, bad, or indifferent, you know, you can't, I don't think it's fair to not have someone that big not represented by someone from their council. So, moving on, Salinas Valley Recycles.
This month, due to the holidays, the way they fell, and we're feeling it here at our council meeting.
Sorry, I forgot to turn it on. Our meeting will be held on the fourth Thursday this month, on the 23rd at 6 p.m. here in our council chambers. At that time, we will have election of officers, and because of the recent elections in November, some of the representatives from some of the cities are changing. So our executive committee, I'm moving up and I will be the new chair or the president, and then Glenn Church, representing the county, will be the vice chair. And we have to have a representative from Salinas. So I think they were just suggested like our list is today, and it will be voted on tomorrow at the Salinas City Council meeting. So at this time, I don't know exactly who will be representing Salinas. And then we will hold our official election of officers at that meeting. One of the items that the board will be considering, which I thought would be important to mention tonight in light of all the devastation that's happening in Southern California. As you all know, that at landfills, I think one of the biggest items that causes landfills to start fires or smolder are the batteries that are thrown in, and they shouldn't be thrown in the garbage. They need to be separated. But not everybody follows the rules. So what we're doing is we're considering a fire suppression system for the Halone transfer station. And because it's kind of out all by itself, by the time the fire trucks were to arrive, it would be gone. And it could also have a devastating effect to the residents of Pine Canyon right outside King City. So I saw that last week at our EC meeting, and I just thought, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. So keep an eye out for that. And that's all I have for us. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to oral communications, Ms. Worthy, we'll start with you.
All right. I have a couple of comments and a couple of questions. The comments are, I know it's not on my report tonight, but I did want to share this with everyone that Monterey Salinas Transit did receive, MST did receive a $20 million amount from the Federal Transportation Agency, which will go toward the SURF project. So we had our meeting today, and it was, we also had a special reception for that as well. Also, to let everyone know that I did ride the circulator on Friday. So I took the circulator from Fano Vista, right where the apartments are. I started there at 10:50 a.m. and went all through town and stopped at all the different locations. It took 40 minutes to go through town. No one rode the bus. However, a lot of us decided that the bus driver and I both decided that probably the reason for that is because the kids were still out of school and a lot of people are still gone. So for the next couple of months, they're gonna monitor that quite diligently, and they're gonna make sure that they can kind of see how it's going. I really encourage our residents to take advantage of this. It's a great little thing. I mean, if you just want to go downtown and run a couple of errands and then go home, I mean, it's really quick. I mean, for me, it's just a few blocks to walk there. So it was very simple. So I encourage people to try to get on that bus. The other thing is, as I was riding the bus that day, and I happened to go by Meyer Park, I noticed that our public works guys were out there mowing the lawns at Meyer Park and cleaning everything up. So I immediately called Patrick and we had a discussion about it. And obviously that's an issue that we have to discuss. Our public works guys should not be out there cleaning up because the folks who live over there are not paying their assessments to where they need to be. So I think as a council, we need to have a discussion about that to decide what direction we're going to go with that particular situation, because I mean, I saw those guys out there and I thought we decided we weren't gonna do that anymore, but we obviously need to have a conversation about that if we can. The other one is I would like to ask, if possible, for us to have some type of strategic planning meeting as a council and with department heads, no facilitator, just to sit down and talk about the direction and the budget for the 25-26 year. There are obviously some things we have to have discussion about. I mean, we have, as we all know, we've been talking about this for over a year, if not longer. Financially, our community is in trouble. We don't have the money. We didn't pass Measure S. The assessments aren't paid at Meyer Park. We're doing some things that maybe we need to think about eliminating. And I mean, if I ran my household this way, I wouldn't have any money left over. So it's something that we have to have a real serious discussion about. And I would really appreciate it if we could sit down as a group and talk about it, if we could plan that. Because I know we usually do our budgets in March. Is that usually when we start? Yeah, so I thought if we could do it before that, that would be great. I'm asking if possible. And then the last thing that I want to, two things, sorry. I've had several residents call me about the painting of the curbs. And they've been told that we don't have the manpower to do it. I have at least 10 people that will volunteer to paint those curbs. If Public Works were there to guide us, or if there's somebody there that could, I mean, I'm volunteering myself. My husband said he would do it. There's several residents that said that they would help. So I think we really need to talk about trying to see if we can get that going. I don't know if that would be yours, Patrick, or Carmen, and you talk about it. I don't know if it's possible. But I've had several residents call me again about the fact that, you know, they try to drive the baby carriages or their mother in a wheelchair or whatever, and they're not able, you know, there's a car parked there and it's a problem. And then the last one is directed to Chief Weiss. And this is a personal thing. These kids on these bikes, I had an incident myself. You know, the kids that ride around on their bikes and they're doing all their tricks and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I had the other night when I was coming home, there was a group of them and they almost ran into me. And it's getting kind of scary for me. And I think for not only me, I mean, I know Maria's had some issues with it. I think Liz has. These kids need to be cited or something needs to be, I don't know what we can do, but you know, it's scary. Somebody's going to get hurt or somebody's going to get their car knocked or somebody's going to, and I'm, you know, me, I'm pretty verbal and, you know, I'm like, get the hell out of here, you know, kind of thing. And, you know, my husband looks at me and says, you're going to get hurt, you know, because they're going to know where you live and they're going to come and hurt you or whatever. But I'm just saying that I don't know what can be done about it, but I'm asking now if we can look at that somehow. And that's all I have.
You see what staff gets for, you know, having these meetings so far spread out?
I know, sorry.
It's okay. It's good. It's good.
We have a laundry list.
We have Liz, you're next.
Yeah, I'm just gonna reiterate what Lorraine just mentioned about the new law that came into effect on January 1st with regards to parking within 20 feet of a crosswalk. I just urge all our residents to please read the insert in this month's water bill. It explains it. It is in English and Spanish. It is very to the point. And my mother asked me about it today and I explained it more in depth to her. And I too have people that can volunteer and help out. Some of us retirees have the time and would be willing to, you know, if somebody marked it off, we could go with the paint. If you supply the paint and the rollers, we'll do the manpower.
I think we need the vest and cones.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I really, and I mentioned this to Carmen during our one-on-one last Friday, so she's aware of my views on that too. Also, Happy New Year, everybody. 2025, who would have thunk it, right? Not me. It's like, oh my gosh, where does the time go? With that, a lot of new things. I just took advantage of our free yoga class at the Taylor Medical Facility last Saturday. I think it's every 2 weeks. They said yoga and I was a little bit hesitant because like I can't get down on the ground because then I can't get back up. But she changed it up. Vivian is the leader. She did it at the Vosti Center last year for us. She's amazing. And so she saw that there was 12 of us there, and so she turned it into chair yoga, which was great. I am starting to feel my legs again today because they were kind of wobbly yesterday and sore. But I urge everybody, take advantage of these classes that are offered at Taylor. And I was really happy to see new faces there. There were some new faces, so I appreciate them. I'm sure that rest of the community does as well. I believe they're going to have a cooking class maybe and a painting class, whatever it is. Let's take advantage, because if we don't, they're going to take it someplace else, and we have no room to complain after that. Another fun thing that happens in our county is called Farm Day. It's for third graders to learn a lot of little things about agriculture, because you can get their attention for about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes, and they go to about 5 different little stations. They learn things such as seeds. Why do we coat the seeds? The soils that we use, the amendments that are used, the irrigation practices. They learn about composting. They learn how worms are they're advantageous in gardens. So, and then they get to see the tractors and they get to see the animals. So that's the one thing they want to see, is really that the children like to get on tractors and they love to touch animals, but they have to learn all these other little things first. So the next one coming up is in King City on January 23rd. And if anybody has time, it's about 4 or 5 hours out of your morning. But the rewards are priceless, because you get to see a lot of third graders and their eyes are this big, and they want to learn. They're sponges. So my husband and I will be helping that day. I've worked as a volunteer for them for quite a few years now. And as long as I can, I'll continue to do that. And finally, when is the date of the next milestone for the community center? Do we know that yet?
The date has not been set. It's expected to be in, as I understand it, mid-February. That's when they'll have the library, teen center, every other parts of building A basically be weather tight.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Thank you.
So it's actually discussed every week with the construction team. And I brought it up at last Wednesday's meeting, last Thursday. So yes, when we firm up that date, I'll definitely be sharing it with Carmen and the city council.
Okay, I still go by and take my pictures every week or two now. But I've been noticing that there are other people who pull over and walk across, or they stand on the side of the high school and they're taking pictures. I don't know who some of these people are, but they're also following the progress. So it's really fun to be seeing it go up. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bond. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, it sounds like the prior to council members are addressing the daylighting bill. I just wanted to validate that this is unfunded mandate, no funds with it to unfunded. All right. Presume that was the case. So yeah, obviously I would also agree that it's something we can do to establish volunteer groups and whatnot, or reach out to some of the community groups. I know some of those in the past, the 4-H, Scouts and others in the past have done various projects where they've been painting, so could be an opportunity. Outside of that, would be interested in the conversation regarding park services. Do want to make a note that Meyer Park residents do pay assessments. They just didn't increase it, but no one has that option not to pay. So we all do pay every year. But outside of that, happy New Year to everyone, and yeah, look forward to a great year. We have a lot of great projects we can wrap up this year, so looking forward to it.
Ms. Orozco.
Thank you. Also like to wish everyone a happy new year. I look forward to the completion of our great projects, the library and our youth center, and then hopefully onto our community center. And folks have been asking about if there's going to be any fundraising events. And of course, I say, of course, there are going to be fundraising events, you know? So I think, you know, there's a lot to discuss when we have our strategic planning session, but if we can save some time to discuss possible fundraising efforts at the local level. There's a lot of events that are coming up, you know, Children's Festival, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July. It would be great to have a booth and just, you know, provide more information about, you know, the community center and maybe how much we need to continue to fundraise. I think folks are getting more and more excited because they see the work that's being done, something, well, so that's really something that I think we can certainly start to at least discuss. And maybe some of us can maybe volunteer to serve on a committee of some sort. Or committees. I also want to echo Lorraine's comment that the issue with the students riding their bikes continues to be a problem. I know I had some folks also mention that, and the fact that they've almost, you know, bumped into them and the fear because you don't know if they're gonna move out of the way or they continue to, you know, ride their bikes. It is scary. I know when it happened to me, I saw my car on TikTok and I thought, that's my car. And those are those kids on those bikes. So it is scary. It is a scary situation. A couple of other concerns. There are speeding in neighborhoods. And so I don't know, you know, we can continue to do that. I know that some years ago we've talked about speed bumps, but it's just a continuing issue and problem. And also I've been asked if it's possible to put a crosswalk on the corner of 5th and Belden. A lot of close calls and that people just cross, there's no crosswalk there, but certainly that's, you know, on their way to the bank or to the post office. There's a lot of foot traffic along that route. So other than that, I look forward to having our next strategic planning session here pretty soon. Thank you.
I got a couple items. I got a call from Mr. Fano, who saying that he was upset would be putting it mildly. I mean, we've been talking about this at least the 4 years that I've been here. And I know the past the past city manager told me when I came on in December that we'd be going to LAFCO sometime in April. Well, that's long since passed. And the last time that staff and we spoke, I believe the plan was to get it to planning commission and to city council so that hopefully January, February would be to LAFCO. We're at our first meeting and there's nothing mentioned about that project. So again, I'd rather have you give me a realistic date than optimism. If we're gonna be optimistic, I mean, I've been telling folks for, like I said, the last 4 years, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I'm starting to feel like a liar because, you know, it's just like, when? So Carmen, I'd appreciate if you can get staff together and let's come up with a realistic date. Because I understand from Mr. Fano that there is some financial commitments by September, certain things that have to be done in order for this project to continue to move forward. So I'm not sure what it's gonna take. Not privy to all the staff meetings that go on between you guys and Pembroke. I'm assuming that a lot of the development agreements have been ironed out, I'm assuming. But certainly I'd like to see a realistic date for when it's gonna go to planning commission. And hopefully after that, it comes to the council. Then who knows, you know, with the way LAFCO works, will it be 45 days? Will it be 6 months? I don't know. I'm just hoping that we can get it to them the sooner, the better. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to that have literally bought homes in King City with the hope and intent to come back to Gonzales. Our folks in Soledad. I can't tell you how many times I've come. Are we almost ready to build houses? No, not quite yet. I'm concerned because a lot of the folks that are leaving are folks that are very community minded, and I know they'd be good coaches, they'd be good mentors, but instead of being in our community, they're moving elsewhere. And honestly, one gentleman told me he paid $620,000 for a house in King City. But he said he'd be happy to pay almost double that if it was in Gonzales. I said, wow, must be nice to kind of have that income. No, but you know, I get it. People want to be here. If they grew up here, just like Liz, I don't think Liz would ever think about living anywhere else other than here. And I can tell you honestly, you know, I'm hoping that, my last days are here in Gonzales. You lived in a lot of different places, and I can honestly say this is the one place that feels like home. Still does, always will be. So, Carmen, I task you with that. Please get staff together, come up with a realistic time frame moving this project forward. We got to get it done. It's not maybe, we have to get it done. Because if Mr. Fain was correct, when it comes September, we may have nothing. And that's the last thing I want to see. I know Mr. Funk's got a young man that's back here in the community, and I'm sure that one day he'd like to buy his own home. Lorraine's got two. So, I mean, the want and the need is here. We just gotta get it pushed through. So whatever staff can do to get it there, like I said, don't give me an optimistic date, give me a realistic date. Please. Secondly, another thing, I've asked, and we've talked about it. I don't know about you guys, but my feeling is if it costs us, instead of 25,000, it's gonna cost us 75,000 to get the signs up on the off ramps, to get those darn trucks off Fifth Street. We're gonna save that in buckets and not having to repave Fifth Street. So what's it gonna take? I'd like to know, what's it gonna take to get those darn signs up and get those semis off of Fifth Street? Chief's already told me, he can't do nothing about it unless there's a sign. So I get you, Chief, I hear you. And I know, Patrick, you've given me the numbers. What are we waiting for? So could we please work on that item? And again, realistic. Don't tell me it's gonna be done in 6 months and 6 months come and go and there's still no signs. I mean, those semis coming up on Fifth Street, every time I look at them, I just look, cha-ching, cha-ching. How are we gonna even pay for it now that the gas tax is going away? How are we gonna even pay for that? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. But I think 50,000 or 75,000 is chump change compared to what it's gonna take to repay Fifth Street. Okay, from that, I'll get off my soapbox. All right, moving on, city manager's report.
Well, I did have some of the stuff that you guys asked about. I was planning to share about it, so I'll answer some of the questions that you had just right now. So I do have working on an AB 413 presentation, which is a daylight lighting law that just passed, which is the painting the curves red. I'm going to do a presentation on it next week on Tuesday to talk a little bit more about what the city's efforts will be, how others are approaching it, and then also kind of a volunteer aspect that we will be engaging. And similarly, I've had calls and have reached out to some folks that are willing to help paint. So that's in the works, and so I'll share more on next Tuesday. I did want to share that I had a good meeting with the new school superintendent, Joey Adame, who just started, and he will be coming in front of the council at some point once they have their strategic plan in place to share what the school will be embarking on this next year and kind of what his vision is and the board's vision for the school now that he's at the helm. In terms of the what I'm calling State of the City or Strategic Planning Session, I do have a date that I was going to propose to the council. So February 22nd, if you, Mary will be pulling you guys, but put it on your calendar for now to see if that works. Most likely it'll be 9 to 12 or so. So we'll be reaching out to see if that date works for everyone here. And then the only other, well, two things. So Mayor, as you know, I was trying to get the Safe Routes to School folks to allow us to use some of the $250,000 for the trucking ban signs. they denied me. And even though I asked over and over, they denied it and said, no, that money is not for that. You can't use it. So now that I have officially got turned down by them, we'll have to look at other, funding streams to fund the truck ban. And I think it will be a good, opportunity to discuss that a little bit more in our strategic planning session, because the last quote we got was $75,000. So if we need to pull it from basically where are we gonna pull it will be the conversation. And if, it is something the council wants to do, I mean, we do have some reserves and maybe that's where we pull it from, but knowing that other emergencies can come up. And, that is all we have kind of at our disposal. So, I think that's a good topic of conversation at that meeting as well, in terms of where the rest of the council, sits on that. And then, just a quick update, we plan to come back on the Vista Lucia project to share more. We are just kind of at the tail end of negotiations on that. So, don't want to give you a date because we've had date and then we've gone back and forth negotiating. Our legal and Pembroke's legal team are going back and forth on some of the final aspects of it. But we're pretty close. I don't know if, Mike, did you want to add anything other than that?
No, other than to just say, yeah, it's hard to give a date, but we're hopeful that we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And, we're working hard. We have a couple of meetings every week, and exchanges of documents and ideas and so forth. We had a meeting today, we'll have a meeting tomorrow, I think, yeah, and we'll have a meeting probably maybe at the end of the week as well. So we're working hard to try to get this done and get it before the planning commission and then ultimately to the city council, so.
And as soon as, we have staff reports drafted and things ready to go. So as soon as, the DA is finalized and both legal teams feel good with it, we're ready to schedule those meetings. So, more to come shortly on that. That's all I have for tonight.
All right. If there's nothing else, then we will go ahead. Any other department heads need to comment or want to comment?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. And I might have mentioned this briefly, but on the industrial wastewater, we're issuing the treatment facility for bid later this week, and that's on the order of a $20 million contract amount. Let's see, we're opening bids late February, be in front of you, fingers crossed, at the second meeting in March to award that contract. The other personal milestone is that December was 10 years of my involvement with the city of Gonzales. I was your contract city engineer for 4 years, and at the end of January, 6 years ago, I came on board as staff. So just wanted to mention 10 years being connected to the city of Gonzales. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, one last thing. Would you all join me in wishing Mrs. So a happy birthday? Her birthday was yesterday. She thought she was gonna get away from us.
Happy birthday.
Her birthday. Well, belated birthday, but nonetheless, a birthday. Who?
Probably one of the silence, thinking about all the folks in Southern California before we adjourn.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Riley, for bringing that. No, who's our singer here? If I sing, the dogs cry. But I will. So. Well, whatever you like. My grandson prefers a la via, la boa, la viva, ba. Liz, rah, rah, rah. Okay, there we go. There we go. No. Oh, come on, Carmen, let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Liz. Happy birthday to you.
And many more. Michael, would you take us into closed session and read that for the record, please?
2 closed session items this evening. The first is City Council will recess the closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 confer with the attorney, significant potential exposure to litigation. The second is the City Council will recess the closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A1 to confer with the attorney regarding pending litigation which has been initiated formally, which the city is a party. That's the claimant's counsel.
So the regular meeting stands adjourned and we're moving into closed session.